this is what real intimacy looks like. Those moments of deep connection where you can feel truly seen, heard, and understood. But here's the thing, most couples are only scratching the surface. They might have great sex, but they're missing out on the other types of intimacy that are essential for a truly fulfilling relationship.
So let's talk about the 5 essential intimacy types that can transform your relationship. And the first one is physical intimacy. Usually, when we hear physical intimacy, we think about sex, but physical intimacy is much more than just sexual intimacy. I noticed that some people even sometimes mention the word intimacy interchangeably with sex. But yeah, in reality, we have sexual intimacy and also just physical intimacy that can include a loving hug, holding hands, a kiss on the cheeks, on the foreheads, any physical touch that makes us feel safe, seen, supported, held. And we can have physical intimacy with different kinds of people, not only romantic relationships. But yeah, it's really important for most people to have that, to have that physical intimacy with others.
Yeah, and I think this type of intimacy is most common, right? It's most easily visible, but it's also a good signal. It's usually that only when we lack physical intimacy, we think something is wrong with the relationship, and it's usually a consequence of missing out on other types of intimacy. And the reason why sometimes it's hard for us to be in a hug with our partner or being have sex with them is that we lack some other types of connections that would then make this physical intimacy also enjoyable for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great feature of physical intimacy that it can show us that something is off, and then we go and explore what is off. For example, we explore whether there is something off with emotional intimacy, which is the second type of intimacy that we are talking about. And here, this type of intimacy is all about feeling comfortable sharing the true you with your partner, sharing your deepest thoughts, feelings, and vulnerabilities with your partner, sharing your fears and desires. We often mention in our work, and yeah, it is, as I said at the beginning, feeling this feeling of being heard and understood and validated, also being there for each other, and being somebody that you can trust in. And
Yeah.
the easiest way to know whether this kind of intimacy exists in your relationship is to ask yourself, can I be my true self in front of this person, in front of my partner, and experience no shame, no judgment, no fear,
Yeah.
right? And yeah.
Yeah, it's almost asking, do I feel safe to be myself? And in many relationships, people don't feel safe to actually express these deep thoughts and fears because the other person may get upset, may judge, may criticize them, so or have an emotional reaction that is quite strong. So this is a clear lack of this emotional intimacy. So if you can feel safe, you don't have to hide, that's a good indication.
Yeah, and people often don't know what does it mean. Recently I got a question from a friend, what is emotional intimacy? And it's just a testament to this to this conclusion that, especially in the Western world, we kind of it's hard to make this emotional connection, to be emotionally naked in front of somebody, to have this to have this relationship where, hey, all of me, even the darkest parts, even the parts that I'm ashamed of. And I think this is something that two of us are really basing the strength of our connection, because from the very early on in our relationship, we were there for each other, and we were giving conscious effort in exposing all of ourselves.
Yeah.
There is nothing to hide, nothing to
Yeah.
to be afraid of in front of each other, even though it's ugly, even though if it's not sexy, or in some
Yeah.
cases masculine, in some cases feminine.
Yeah, Stefan is really good at that, digging deep,
Yes.
asking questions and digging and digging. But even we mentioned before that even from the moments we met, we were on a consciousness and intimacy festival. And because of that, we were sharing really deep things. And yeah, we cried and we shared a lot about our past, our fears, and that really helped put us on this path. But also because of our personalities, we continued with that, always really getting to know someone. Yeah, so that's really important. It's very easy to be, for example, just living life and taking care of the chores, and almost like for couples, they become partners in maybe raising a family and getting the bills paid, but they forget to have that, and weeks and weeks, months and months, years go by, and all they do is take care of chores, pay the bills, and not having these deep talks. And they may even have that with friends, but not with their partner. So it's really interesting. So it's important that we are
For me, this is the
consciously.
most important type of intimacy.
Yeah.
And like
Mhm.
most of the people think of physical intimacy when we talk about intimacy. I think of
Yeah.
emotional intimacy when the
Mhm.
word intimacy arises, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's also this old into me, you see, right? Intimacy. Uh, for me, this is the representative of emotional intimacy, right? And this is why it's so important that we focus on this. And usually when there is something wrong with the physical intimacy, there is in behind it, it's actually a problem in feeling truly hurt,
Yeah.
feeling truly seen, knowing what's happening inside of this other person who's with us maybe for 10 years, but life and
Yeah.
life comes, things changes, and so our partners are, and if we don't know who our partner is now evolving to be in, there is going to be this void and this disconnect, right?
Yeah.
Which can be then fulfilled with investing into maintaining this emotional intimacy.
And this is also very connected with the next type of intimacy, which is intellectual intimacy. It's having the mental level connection. And this means we can have share our deep thoughts. Maybe you are reading a new book that you really enjoy, and you can bounce back ideas or share those insights and feedback. So you actually helping stimulate each other's minds with this intellectual intimacy. And yeah, you can be challenging each other as well. And Stefan and I, we really like that, especially Stefan, to, for example, read a book or watch a video, but then after that, we discuss what did we think, why did we think that. It can be as well discussing your views on politics, on the world, or it can be so many things, but it's being able to have this beyond the surface kind of conversations, right?
Yeah, and I think curiosity there is essential to be present within both partners. So, and yeah, reading a book and discussing about it, sharing the newfound knowledge, right? But it's also like being interested in your partner's world. Like I love how you were some years ago asking me about, but how does the compost toilet work, or how can we create a sewage system in our household? So, and then it stimulates me to try to explain it to you, and we engage in the pros and cons of it, and then I think it creates certain kind of bond. Also, expresses your desire to know more of my world, and then also the vice versa should happen.
And intellectual intimacy and emotional intimacy can be sometimes confused, but they are quite different, because emotional intimacy is really talking about getting to know each other on an emotional level. It's about sharing our hearts, it's about knowing each other's hearts and feelings. Now, intellectual intimacy is getting to know each other on a mental level, how I think about things, how I see things. So they are similar, but they are different.
Yes. And this brings us to the next type of intimacy, right? Which is experiential intimacy, something I really love
Mhm.
and something that is not that common to talk about. But
Mm.
it is important type of intimacy in a relationship where which is about creating shared experiences and memories together. So it involves trying new
Mhm.
things, exploring the world, building a rich history of joint history of fun and adventure as a couple. Think about traveling together, or maybe
Mhm.
taking some cooking class, volunteering for some cause you both care about, or even just establishing a fun weekend routine that you're gonna follow
Mhm.
up and enjoy in some quality time together. These shared experiences then create these lasting memories, and they bring joy and strengthen your bond in a unique way. But it is
Mhm.
also about the joy of creating something together, whether it's painting, gardening, creating a new business
Mhm.
plan, running a business together, like we
Mhm.
are, or even just raising children. It's the biggest life project, right? That you are doing
Mhm.
together with your partner. So it's all about collaborating and sharing this sense of accomplishment. And when you engage in these creative activities with your partner, you're not just making something new, you're building this shared history between
Mhm.
two of you. And yeah, I think it's really important that we have this type of intimacy, as it strengthens our bond and creates this sense of teamwork that
Mhm.
truly long lasting and happy relationship have, right?
Yeah, and this can really change depending of the stage that you are in a relationship. So if you are in the beginning stages of dating, this can be really helpful to build a strong bond in the beginning. But in this case, it would be, for example, instead of always just meeting each other and going to have dinner together and you're just sitting there looking at each other and just talking, maybe you can have something, a different kind of experience. It may be even going for a hike, going for and then a picnic, or going to play a game together, or something that you are engaged together in doing and not just sitting and talking to each other. So this can really build
Mm.
stronger bonds faster when you have maybe a different activity, go find an adventure that you like, and this can be really nice. And for me, my favorite parts about this kind of intimacy as we progress in the relationship is really the parts of creating something together. To me,
Yes.
that's what is really special, because I believe that me being a unique individual, anything I create in my life will have my energy, right? My thoughts, my yeah, personality, and anything that, for example, he creates alone will have his energy, his thoughts, his personality. But now when we create something together, it would be something completely different that I could not create alone and he could not create alone, can only be created because it's a blend of two of us. So yeah, it can be a house, a farm that we are building, a business,
Or
art.
something very simple, like
Yeah.
we were painting our bed,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
very
Making our
recently,
bedroom together.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had a big desire
Yeah.
to go and chop my own woods from the forest and bring it
Yeah.
here, and then you being part of this process made it so much nicer. and
Mm-hmm.
and I just loved that moment that we had at the end of accomplishment, and
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but also all the moments of collaboration during it. And one
Mm-hmm.
last point for experiential intimacy is that yes, we can do many different things with our partners, and that they don't contribute to this intimacy at all.
Mm-hmm.
If we do it uh, without actually attention and care
Mm-hmm.
to our partners. There's so many couples who go on vacations
Mm-hmm.
together, who go on different kind of activities, but they're not actually together.
Yeah.
So it's you know you're doing something, and of course there is this activity at the center, but it's two of you now. It's not only
Mm-hmm.
you.
The teamwork,
it's the teamwork,
presence,
and presence. Exactly.
Yeah, you can go on vacation and just have the same like scrolling all the time, sitting by each other's side and just scrolling
So
on
it's
the
the
phone.
quality of these experiences that will enhance the intimacy and the connection.
And the next and final type of intimacy that we're talking about is the spiritual intimacy. That for some people, this may be having a partner that share the same spiritual beliefs or the same religion. For some people, it's a deal breaker. But it's not only about that, and it's really about exploring these life big questions together. It's about sharing our beliefs, even questioning each other's beliefs and helping each other grow in this way. And I feel like that in our relationship we have a lot of that, especially in the beginning as we're getting to know each other. Yeah, we are sharing our beliefs or our lack of beliefs in certain things and challenging each other, helping to expand a bit how we see the world, life, these bigger life questions. So sometimes it may be sharing a common faith, but it's more than that. It's about being open to share these aspects with each other.
Yeah, and this one can be, as you said, a deal breaker for some people.
Yeah.
But even though even if at the beginning of relationship it was alignment in this area of, let's say, we were both following the same religion or having the same views, same values, right? People change throughout the relationship, and then there is often this dynamic in relationships where maybe one person embarks on the path of spiritual awakening or path of embracing some new religion, or just questioning how they were seeing the world before, and the other one is kind of going into this fear mode. Who is this person now? I don't know them, and then create this distance is being created between them. So this type of intimacy can really pull people apart as much as it can bring them together. But the key is to share these internal changes with each other, right? To not leave this change that's happening within us a hidden piece for our partner, right?
Exactly. Yeah, to not go through it alone, to share, and at the same time to not expect that the other person will share the same thoughts, beliefs about it. And if we can still be ourselves and but be open-minded and still love the person even if they don't necessarily agree or believe the same thing, then we have a chance. But if we really need that person to believe the same things or act the same way, then it can become a big issue, and it's understandable, but it's very important, this type of intimacy as well. And then we are closing here with, what if then you don't have all these types of intimacy in your relationship, right? What to do if you realize it's like, oh my gosh, I just have this and this and don't have the other ones. What to do? Do you have any advice for people on that?
Well, I think listening to videos like this, learning about different kinds of intimacy is a way of creating awareness of what can you do maybe that's lacking to improve in your relationship right now. But it's not essentially it's not necessarily that if you lack some of it, it's a deal breaker, or there is also maybe other people who can fulfill a need for certain levels, certain types of intimacy, especially like intellectual or experiential or spiritual even, where it's okay to find this kind of intimacy somewhere else, as long as you talked about it with your partner and you're okay with it. Maybe you have some different belief system that is something that cannot change, but you accepted it and you're okay with this difference between you two, and then you go and engage in certain activities that you require to fulfill this need of yours for this certain belief. But yeah, it's definitely a great treasure to have all kinds of this intimacy,
Yeah.
and to try to bring even some small piece of it, of them within the partnership.
Yeah, and I feel that it's important to be aware of these different types of intimacy because sometimes we can feel disconnected from our partner and we don't know really what it is about. We just feel disconnected, feel distance. So by knowing these different kinds of intimacy, you can actually ask yourself, what is it that is missing for me? What is it that I'm really needing that I'm not receiving? And when you know that, first you can intentionally try to work on this in your relationship, or also be aware of maybe I just need to get this somewhere else if possible. Right? I need maybe a friend where I can share about these beliefs and this faith that my partner doesn't have, so I can feel seeing in this way. So yeah, it's really important to know that, and yeah, it's not always necessarily a deal breaker. And some of these intimacies can become a deal breaker, and then we really have to have the internal, yeah, how they say, reflection to see.
So, what about you? Do you see these types of intimacy in your relationship? It is a great exercise to try to identify which of these types need attention, and it can be incredibly enlightening and help you actually create the connection you desire. And if you're ready to maybe go a little bit deeper and explore some parts of physical, emotional intimacy, and experiential, you can also check our guided connection journeys, which are just very simple, easy way for you to have this us time, good quality us time, and connect on a deeper level. These are audio experiences designed to guide you and your partner on 3 separate journeys into this space of deeper intimacy.
And the link for those will be showing up here on the screen or at the description box below this video. And thank you for watching and being here with us until the end. We see you on the next one.